Kurt's world imploded. One minute he was a titan, a business leader lauded for his acumen. The next his name was splashed across headlines, synonymous with scandal. The accusations were vicious, cutting to the core of his integrity. Kurt felt a deep shame, a profound sense of failure. It was as if the ground beneath him had dissolved, leaving him in freefall. The phone calls stopped. Former colleagues and friends disappeared, their silence deafening. His carefully constructed empire was crumbling, the weight of his decisions crushing him. Sleep evaded him, replaced by a gnawing anxiety that tightened its grip with each passing hour. He was lost in a storm of his own making, the tempest raging within and around him. Maryann watched the storm engulf Kurt, her heart breaking for him. She knew the truth, the man behind the headlines. This was not the Kurt she knew, the one with a kind heart and unwavering principles. This was a wounded animal lashing out in pain and fear. Maryann, as Maryann, I stood by him, a beacon of unwavering support. I fielded calls from relentless reporters, my voice firm yet polite as I deflected their intrusions. I took care of the mundane tasks that felt insurmountable to Kurt, managing our household with quiet efficiency. In the darkest hours, when despair threatened to consume him, I held him, whispering words of comfort and love. The weight of the scandal pressed down on them, a suffocating blanket of stress. Kurt, once so full of life, retreated into himself. The twinkle in his eyes, the one that always made Maryann's heart flutter, dimmed to a dull ache. He was distant, lost in a labyrinth of his own thoughts. Maryann, as Maryann, our conversations, once filled with laughter and shared dreams, became strained. Every word felt heavy, laden with unspoken anxieties. I tried to bridge the gap, to rekindle the spark that had drawn us together, but the Kurt I knew seemed lost, trapped in the wreckage of his former life. The strain on our relationship was palpable, a constant tension thrumming beneath the surface. Section 4. Isolation and Despair. Kurt's days blurred together, a monotonous cycle of despair. He couldn't escape the feeling of being trapped, a prisoner of his own mistakes. The life he had built, the future he had envisioned, lay in ruins. He felt like a ghost, haunting the halls of his own home. He withdrew further from Maryann, his silence a shield against the pain he couldn't bear to share. He saw the worry in her eyes, the exhaustion etched on her face, and it fueled his guilt. He loved her, but his own demons held him captive, preventing him from reaching out for the solace she offered. He was sinking in quicksand, each desperate attempt to break free only pulling him deeper into despair. Section 5. A glimmer of hope. One evening, Maryann found Kurt on the porch, his gaze lost in the twilight. He looked up as she approached, a flicker of something akin to hope sparking in his eyes. He reached for her hand, his touch hesitant, yet filled with a longing that mirrored her own.
"I'm sorry," he whispered, his voice rough with disuse, "for everything."
The words hung in the air between them, heavy with unspoken emotions. It was a small step, an acknowledgement of the pain he had inflicted. Maryann squeezed his hand, a silent promise of forgiveness and unwavering love. They had a long road ahead, the path to healing uncertain and fraught with obstacles. But as they sat together, the last rays of sun painting the sky in hues of hope, they clung to each other, two souls battered but not broken, determined to weather the storm together.